Welcome back, everybody, to the Manchester Major. We're on to the B stream now. It's Dev Marta and Lynx bringing you all the action here. How are you feeling about the games we've seen so far? We've obviously done first round of the Swiss, all done. We're moving into the winners games now and the loser games later on today.
Well, honestly, Dev, I've had a big issue because I watch all the games, I'm watching, and I can't retain anything because FaZe losing 3-7 to Secret is still sticking in my head as the defining upset of today so far. Like, every other game to me, it's been good. Especially that Furia BDS game earlier. Really great stuff. But that is basically the headline, the story, everything for today's games for me up until this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking about both Furia and FaZe, arguably two of the favorites for this tournament, perhaps BDS you could throw in there as well.
That's the three for me.
Yeah, I think for most people it's the case. So yeah, Furia obviously taking down BDS. That's great for them. A really good showing for the reigning world champions and, of course, the reigning major champions and the only team to ever do it twice on a major. A lot of accolades to Furia have. FaZe, though, who managed to take the championship within Brazil, losing their first game. But let's talk about some of these lesser-known teams or perhaps up-and-coming teams. And I want to talk about SCARZ a little bit because obviously they're going to be in our game at the start of our B stream run today, and they'll be taking on Furia. And SCARZ, look, they did win their first game, but it's not going to be a big walk in the park from here on out. I mean, they have obviously played in the Japan League quite a lot, and they came to the major in their first games against the Japanese team anyway.
Yeah, and then their second game is against the world champions.
Oh yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
It's sure you have the hometown rivalry. You know, well, not really rivalry. CAG always loses to SCARZ, but now you're going up against Furia as your second game, and as we can kind of talk about later, there's reasons why this is going to be problematic beyond the simple fact that it's Furia versus SCARZ. You know, a team from the best region in the world versus a region that is still trying to get their things figured out. But I think undisputably what we can agree, you know, maybe SCARZ and then the second, third, you could say Kinotrope and CAG easily, but SCARZ are number one. Over the past year, still the only Japanese team to make main stage Copenhagen a year ago now at this point. They're unequivocally the best in that region and are honestly genuinely impressive in some respects.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, SCARZ have dominated the Japanese region, and they, like you said, did make a name of themselves internationally a year ago in Copenhagen. But guess what? They have not won an international match since they qualified for that main stage in Copenhagen. Obviously, they took down Space Station at the time. They went and played FaZe on stage in Copenhagen. They lost it. Yeah, I mean, it was a hard game. These guys actually took a map off of them. They had a really solid shot. Since then, they didn't win a single game in Atlanta. They didn't win a single game at SI, at least not a series. They might have won maps, but that's a bit of a different case. Now they finally won a game at a major once again, but it was against CAG. So against a Japanese team, it doesn't really count for dispelling that curse. This is their opportunity to finally break back into the main stage, but it's against the reigning world champs.
And that's, unfortunately, that's when the other shoe drops. It's like, oh, we can say all these things about SCARZ, but Furia might not be in the form they were a year ago, or even necessarily in the form they were in when they won SI, but they're still one of the best teams in the world, even when there's been a bit of a reduction in performance from Copenhagen, Atlanta, or SI on their run over the past year. But for them, this is just one small bump in the road, is the way they're going to view this matchup. I mean, they had to beat BDS to get here. As we said, three favorites: Furia, FaZe, and BDS, as potential major champions, not just to make playoffs. Fighting SCARZ in a 1-0 position, sure, SCARZ are no slouch, and players like Nina and Rek on SCARZ especially could actually be very problematic for some of the Furia players. Nina and Rek are really talented fraggers. But Furia are such a complete roster, and having beat BDS earlier in a close game, but still beat BDS nonetheless, this game should dominantly go Furia's way if they're able to beat BDS.
Yeah, that's the thing. We just know so much about how good Furia are, and we've already seen that their form coming in, which was, in a way, coming into question this stage because of how much Furia struggled within the Brazilian region. They got third place. But you know that we've been talking a little bit off camera about all this, and I still firmly believe that Furia should be classified as one of, if not the favorites for this tournament. And you've got to remember, like, you can't put too much stake into online performance for Furia. FaZe Clan have been back-to-back champions of the Brazilian region now 3 seasons in a row. All of last year was theirs, and now here again, they've just lost a secret. They haven't managed to take down Furia on the international stage in the last year. These guys always turn up at LAN to Furia, even if they aren't the best team in their local region. When it comes to these majors, it's their kingdom.
No, when it comes to not only specifically international events, but also late in events, they power up. They might take a little bit to get, you know, their footing under them early on in an event, but once the event goes on, but especially once they take a loss, that is really when Furia becomes scary, because they buckle down when they have either lost a game, not even necessarily to an opponent they should have beat, but just a game they've lost, period. That is when things really get real for them. But at the same time, Is that going to happen here? Is that going to happen against SCARZ? I mean, Dev, obviously, I mentioned Rek and Nina earlier as two big players. Rek, who's popped off over the past year. Nina, obviously, coming on this roster, aiding Rek, kind of taking a little bit of the burden off his shoulders when it comes to the potential fragging. But can Rek and Nina do that against KZ and Herds? Can we see the IGLing on SCARZ outdo Felipox, one of the best IGLs in Brazil?
Good question. Obviously, Furia known for their firepower, known for their team play, known for their adaptability, and you can see that team play right here. Igor, the coach, giving them a bit of a...
Great coach as well.
Yeah. Anyway, let's just talk about the maps for a second. So, obviously, Furia have quite an insanely good map pool, and we're into a BO1. It does give both teams quite a bit of control over to where we're going, so you would assume that we're going to go somewhere both teams are pretty safe on. And Furia getting rid of Skyscraper straight out of the gate. It's actually their most banned map, but Oregon and Consulate are their next most banned map, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see those taken out by Furia here. For SCARZ, like, where realistically do you want to head?
For SCARZ, I mean, this is sort of the problem, right? Because SCARZ have been so dominant in the Japan League, it's sort of a bit of a mirage. You might feel comfortable on so many maps. Once you face an opponent of this caliber, how much can you really rely on that domestic performance? Even, say, take a map like, for example... Let's say both teams comfortable in Oregon, right? Yeah. But if you're coming from a weaker region, you might be 5-0 on Oregon domestically, but you go up against a team like Furia, that's a whole different ball game. As the ban phase continues, seeing Furia take Nighthaven Labs down, it's a little ironic considering that's the very map that they came back against FaZe on, but they also lost it in the regional league, and it's been a bit hit or miss for them overall.
Yeah, and Nighthaven Labs is actually SCARZ's favorite map. So I was thinking if I'm SCARZ, I probably want to head there. Furia very much clued in, and they have such a large map pool that they're happy to comfortably ban. Well, their first ban, Skyscraper, was their insta-ban, and their second ban was SCARZ's favorite map. So it looks like, I have a feeling we're going to end up on Clubhouse here, because Cafe is another map of common ground between these two teams, and realistically, yeah, there you go, Clubhouse. So it is Cafe and Club are the two maps where both of these teams are really, really good, and I just feel like Furia has won this ban phase. I mean, they're undefeated the last 4 times they've played this map. Yeah, SCARZ are undefeated the last 3 times they've played this map, but of course, very different caliber of teams that we're talking about here, and let's not forget that Furia have played and won this map already this morning.
And the remaining 2 maps, Clubhouse and Chalet, in my mind, those are the 2 Furia maps. Sure, Chalet they've lost a couple times in the regular stage, but it's a map that they're comfortable on and have extremely good performances on against high-quality opponents. And instead, they don't go to Chalet. They pick Clubhouse, which they beat BDS on earlier, 8-6. I understand why SCARZ picked it. I'm not going to flame them for it. They're 3-0 on it. It's a very comfortable map. You gotta play.
I mean, it was that or Cafe or Nighthaven, and Fury banned the other 2.
Exactly.
So
and ultimately, you got to play to your strengths. You shouldn't not pick Clubhouse just because Fury is good on it. If you feel it is the best map in your pool, it doesn't matter if you're playing the World Champions. That's typically the map you should go to. Play to your own strengths, not to your opponent's weaknesses. But at the same time, this is one of Furia's best strengths, one of their most consistent maps, a map they beat BDS, one of the other tournament favorites, on earlier in overtime. It's one of those many reasons, as I mentioned at the start of the show, that we're going to complexify why Furia are the favorites here. Not just because of the World Champions, not just because it's one of the best rosters we've ever seen, but the map we're playing is such a strong favorite, such a comfort pick, that they literally beat one of the best teams at the tournament on earlier.
And yet it's not even their favorite map for Furia. Now, it is one of SCARZ's best maps. They've had very dominant performances the 3 times they played it in the Japan League. 7-1 over Kinotrope, 7-3 over Exist, 7-3 over COG.
Those are quality wins in Japan.
Exactly. Like, those are convincing wins over 3 of the best teams in Japan. So a huge accolade for SCARZ. They like Clubhouse, but it's not really going to be about, oh, who's better on this map. It's about who's just better. And that's the fact is that Furia are the Goliath in this David and Goliath matchup.
They are, and the big thing in my mind going SCARZ way, Dev, feel free to disagree, but in a best of 1, where you just have 1 map, you don't have 2 or 3 to fall back on, if SCARZ can get big performances out of Rek and Nina, this could go their way. If they have, because those are players that can take over rounds and have taken over rounds in the past. So if maybe Herds, who in the past maybe month or so has been doing great, but not as good as SI. KZ, who has really fallen off since his SI performance domestically inside of Brazil. If those guys are a bit quiet, sure, maybe JV92 appears, but if Rek and Nina are defining round after round, that could be a way for a SCARZ victory in a best of 1.
Very much so. Now, SCARZ going on to a map that they very much like with their new roster. Only 2 months since Nina joined up, and yeah, him and Rek are absolute beasts in the server. It's not going to be easy against a team like Furia, coming off on a win already on Clubhouse earlier today. What a statement it would be if SCARZ are able to take down Furia, who have already taken down BDS on this same damn map. This is a huge opportunity for the Japanese to make a statement. Their first opportunity for an international win for over a year.
And also a position where all three of our tournament favorites, BDS, FaZe, and Furia, would have a loss.
Oh yeah, they would be down.
They might, BDS and FaZe might still win their games, but if Furia were to lose here, everyone would at best be 1-1. Our tournament favorites would not be in the 2-0 position to automatically qualify if SCARZ were able to do the unthinkable and take down Furia. So not only a statement for, Furia's reputation, like, oh, wow, this team still is very beatable despite being the world champions. It's also that the three favorites we had, which I don't think anybody would stop or have those not be our favorites anymore, but it would really exemplify further what I think a lot of people have been saying, which is this has been a very competitive stage internationally in Rainbow Six. G2 being knocked out, the unthinkable happening, ITB not winning Europe but making second with a relatively new roster and system, incredibly impressive. Secret upsetting FaZe, Beast Coast winning the NAL, the unexpected the unexpected's been the norm.
By the way,
yes.
Like, there have been very few things that have actually remained consistent in 2024, moving on from last year, and one of those things has been SCARZ. They have been, once again, the kings of Japan, but we're no longer in Japan. We're no longer playing a Japanese team. No, it is time for the reigning world champions to take on SCARZ. 94% of you reckon it's going to be Furia to take it, and look, those odds look extremely grim for the Japanese. That just gives you the context for what an upset it could be if SCARZ have a little bit of bite in this game. But Furia, they're looking to go flawless here in Phase 2 of the Manchester Major as we dig in to Clubhouse.
And as we dig in, will they be able to hold their ground on this defensive side against the oncoming SCARZ attack? You would hope so, given what they were able to do earlier. The Furia bans we saw earlier, by the way, were Dokkaebi and Valkyrie, so already breaking a bit with the trend, and I like this Hibana ban on the attacking side. It's been a pretty normal ban on Clubhouse for a while now, especially since those pellet changes to Hibana, because when you're attacking that basement site, for example, you can get so many of those hatches, especially if you can deal with those Electro Claws, navigate around the impact trick. It's a really smart ban. Ying and Tuber out a follow-up from SCARZ. Pretty normal as well. For the final one, though, Furia love their solos. It's one of their favorite operators that they play, always bouncing between different hands.
They're going to ban it out themselves.
They banned it here.
Wow. It does enable a lot more pre-placed drones and a lot more early aggressive drone work from Furia. Now, thing is, Nina loves solos, so does Rek. So the two star fraggers from SCARZ really love that operator and are going to be a little bit more challenged when it comes to countering the early information for Furia. I want to go back and talk about Hibana again. Hibana, as you said, great on Clubhouse because you can open lots of hatches, but really, it comes down to how good Hibana is at opening one specific hatch, and that is the kitchen hatch,
yes.
Right? If you ban Hibana on Clubhouse, how are you going to open the kitchen hatch? What are your options? All right, you could try Maverick it. No, that's a death sentence. That's never going to happen.
You're going to get C4 or shot or something.
You could
like
try and use a thermite charge or a secondary hard breach charge, but again, C4, even just shooting up through the vert, very dangerous. Or you can use Ace, who only has 3 Selmas, 2 of which need to detonate.
And especially nowadays, Ace is almost exclusively used on that church wall. You know that vertical angle teams will get where they toss it down to open up the bottom left corner. And then we get to can openers, but again, very susceptible to impact tricking.
TLDR of this whole shebang is you're not getting the kitchen hatch open without some serious threat of the impact tricks. Now, we do have 2 impacts on Herds, and that may well be enough to protect that kitchen hatch, as we only have 2 secondary hard breach charges on Nina and 2 more on Rek as well. It's going to be a real challenge for SCARZ to breach these hatches.
Well, Herds has used both of his impact tricks to create rotate holes on the top floors.
Never mind me.
Yes, unfortunately, that's our bad, actually, for trying to predict what would happen around the kitchen hatch. But it's still logical from Furia. You know, SCARZ, the more inexperienced team in theory, maybe would struggle with this problem solving, but doesn't seem to really care all that much about that roam. Nina's already made his way into dirt, but he triggers an F not mine, and that'll clue the defense in that somebody might be pushing very quickly into the site.
Okay.
But Washoy just cut down JV92. They're trying to take this one quick.
Oh, he does get traded on back from Felipox. Good long angle there. Warden apparently does not need the 1.5. Still a big pick to take down. JV not able to change which of his Dread Mines are going to be active for the rest of this round. A very cheeky, early and aggressive push from SCARZ as they haven't even fully cleared the map. They're threatening a push in through blue with already control of Dirt Tunnel. They've got blue clear, and Rek is starting to move on forward.
He is, but there's that mirror window in his way, and unfortunately, because of that F not mine. Okay, never mind. He's run in with the bailiff. Hello? They've made their way in. They've got the advantage.
SCARZ 4v2 on the site now as Furia look to pick up the pieces on this retake, but this mirror window will work against KZ. He managed to slip on by Fish-like, but he won't survive. Can you hear the Japanese spirit as Furia evaporates? SCARZ find the opening round.
Like, who's pushing that mirror window with a bailiff? What?
He's a gamer.
What primal reptilian urge sings to you in your brain, like, push it with the bailiff, swing him with the bailiff?
Rek for you.
He didn't even crack the mirror window. It was open, I'm pretty sure, and he just sprints around, kills the guy, opens up the site, because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, the F not mine has triggered in dirt, so the defenders are going to pull back a little bit, not fully rotate back, but basically get into position and assume that a rush is imminent. So that way, Herds isn't all the way on the top floor. KZ's not too far out of position. They can rotate back. SCARZ have, they've given up the goods. The game's given away. And then they just rush in anyway. They just commit to it, and the fights go their way, and SCARZ are able to get the first round. It's a risky decision, given Furia had rotated back, but it was very entertaining. I'm not going to complain about that.
All right, Carter. So we saw the social vote was 94% in favor of Furia, 6% to SCARZ. I want you to pretend that we haven't watched this like first round play out. Yeah. I don't want that to bias you. Like realistically, what do you think? Yeah, forget about that. Realistically, what do you think would the score be in this match? Like what result would you be looking at? I mean, everyone would pick Furia to be the winners, but like what kind of margin are we talking about?
I would say since they're starting on the defense. Well, this is the interesting thing, right? Because my inclination would say SCARZ get at least one, maybe two on the attacking side. But then on the defense, that's where they might excel a little bit more. So honestly, without looking at the score, I probably would say Furia starting on the defense, maybe like 7-3, 7-4. Now that I've seen that round and seen the playmaking SCARZ were at least able to do in round one, if they get a couple rounds here and Rek and Nina actually do come alive the way we're predicting, this might end up being a close affair if they can run up the score early on.
Well, BDS got 6 rounds off of Furia on Clubhouse earlier today. SCARZ have already got their first. And Furia have changed tack completely. They've gone to cache CCTV instead of back down to the basement. Now, this is in many teams' eyes the weakest bomb site on this map, perhaps aside from Bar, but cache CCTV is not all it used to be. There's so many ways of dealing with this site. Ying has been banned out, but you've got the Monty still in, you've got the Cavitao and the Grim, you've got the Thermite and the Thatcher to deal with this wall. I mean, it's not going to be easy for Furia to dispel against all of this insanely powerful setup. This army's going to do everything that she can. KZ to lock onto this position. The Grim's Bees can't quite land. Oh, unfortunately, I think that Gon 6 also missed.
He got caught on the top of the Monty shield, and so many of the Bees have been used. You still have both those Firebolts, though, and that's the one thing they have. All of this can go awry, but if these Firebolts land and lock this player behind the Kiba, yeah, good fire. JV92 cut down. That's what they needed. Utility placement works wonders. There was one more player in Garage, and yes, there still is. KZ,
oh
well, not anymore. Nina just domes them. That's Garage Control cleared, and we've still got a minute left.
Again! SCARZ are firing up. Where is the Furia that we have seen dominate the world for the last year? Because they're currently in a 2 versus 5 against little old SCARZ from Japan. Now, Philippox in prime position. He can't deny the plan. He can't find a kill, and he will go down without a fight. Could it be flawless from the Japanese in the second round? Rek is low HP as he looks to force his diffuser on down. It is indeed! What is going on right now? SCARZ are 2-0 over Furia.
What a ridiculous ego challenge. He's like, I know I could just hold the CCTV window and kill him when he rotates across. Or I could hop in the window, pre-fire him, and get a flawless round with a gunfight I didn't even need to take. SCARZ are confident. I mean, they're confident, and as we've now seen, justifiably so. They are hitting all of these shots. And it's not just individual performance, because in round one, that was the big thing, right? It's like, all right, you rushed the mirror window, you won the fight, great job. They're on CCTV, there are many options to deal with it. They choose the Monty and the Capitao, and it works perfectly. They fire
the Grim.
Exactly, the Grim as well. They use the Grim, get the intel on where the Kate is playing, firebolt him, shoot him. Then when the Azami pops up as well, they're able to hit their shots on that player too. Then they immediately move into Garage, and what happens once they get that advantage? They push up, get another kill, immediately hop into the site and get the diffuser. Sure, it took 2 minutes to get to the garage clear, but once they got it done, it was logical, consequential after that, step by step by step by step. Really nice stuff from SCARZ these past 2 rounds, and honestly, with how that looked, I'm surprised we didn't see a tactical timeout, but if Furia lose it here, you best believe Igor's hitting the pause button.
Yeah, well, 100%, because we're talking about going to a third different bomb site now for Furia. Nothing's stuck on the basement, nothing's stuck on CCTV, and I really mean that in the fullest sense of the word. They got flawless. And it wasn't like, oh, one player just popped off, it was a cheese from SCARZ. No, they played that so well. Yeah. They played that so methodically. They're like, okay, we're going to take garage, we're going to use this and this and this, and we're going to have someone here, and they just picked them to pieces. Damn, it's quite something. I don't know how much you guys can hear at home, but like the player area is just on the other side of this long warehouse room, and it is bloody loud.
Oh, look at this.
Is this a mirror trick?
Yeah, I was about to say, Nade is prepped for it, seeing if they read into it, but Nina cautious. Think aware that Nade might try to go for it.
He's going to get tricked.
Goes. Is he going to? It's right on the opposite side.
Wow.
No.
Just doesn't land.
I was about to say, it might have covered the top left corner of the exothermic, but either the timing was off or the top left can't really exactly hit it. Either way,
I think
it was spin no matter
missed.
what.
Yeah, obviously, with the mirror window, you literally have to plant it on the exothermic charge to destroy it. It has to deploy before the exothermic detonates. So well played from SCARZ. They've already got an early advantage, though I like the idea from Furia as we see the second exothermic go out on the con wall as well.
Well, and because Nate decided to dedicate a mirror window to that, you're now losing it in one of the key positions. You might not have it for, you know, whether we just saw the Logi rotate, and we might see a mirror window there to watch the bedroom bomb site. We also have one, I would assume, now in garage is the other, or not garage, bathroom. Garage, what the hell am I talking about? Yeah. The other one in bathroom to watch the breach. So Nade, unfortunately, missing a mirror window on potentially a key position that now they'll maybe have to contest Logi a bit more aggressively or play a little more passively. And this is the big thing I was thinking. Where is this Nook going to go? Rek sitting bottom main. Fury are the kings of finding gaps and hitting them. If Rek finds one of his own, he could completely throw the site into disarray.
He's looking to play just passively for now. One of the worst things that you can do when you're that backstab operator is to pull your play far too early. SCARZ is not ready to capitalize on this. It looks like they're just going to explode at the same time. Tayo goes down, JV goes for the drop, and Washoy does find him. It's a bit of a bloodbath. If Washoy can find this kill, it might be redeemable for SCARZ. Fishlight, though, does eventually finish off KZ. He's running from the breach. Herds just moments behind him. If he can trade this, then it should be Furia's game. Yep, indeed. Just him for Leapox and JV to pick up the pieces, but yeah, it's not looking so hot here for SCARZ. Finally, the first round on the board for the reigning world champs. A much needed one at that.
Bit low energy, though. Bit low energy after that win. SCARZ shouting, excited once they got those victories, and Fury, it's like, oh, yeah, good job, guys.
I think it's more of a sigh of relief than a cry of joy.
I mean, especially, if Washoe doesn't miss those DMR shots on the second kill right there,
Yeah, man, that wouldn't have taken much for SCARZ to win that round for sure.
No, not at all. It came very, very close. Rek well-timed with that push up the stairs as well. Unfortunately, right there, I think the intel on the actual site player is just a little lacking for SCARZ. They cleared the default positions, right? The Twitch is ready for the player on the rotate, even ready for the player moving around inside a bedroom, but Rek not ready for somebody to retake up the gym hallway around the breach. Nobody actually seemingly playing that very position as they're all focused on actually moving into the site. So I think just some gaps left in SCARZ's attack. I think it was a good game plan, and it's clear the common positions they were ready for and communicating effectively. But Furia, who are always wily, especially Herds getting in positions you don't expect, it's what he's known for on attack and defense, just got the better of him in that round. Still got to win one more to tie the game.
Yeah. Well, I just want to touch on that, right? We're talking about a defensive-sided map, a defensive-sided game at the moment. Furia by far the favored team in this matchup, but SCARZ have already found 2 of their attacks. Now, I know we didn't ever really commit to answering the question how many rounds should SCARZ get, but on their attack, right? Like, if they can push 3 rounds, that's a pretty big red flag for Furia.
It is a massive red flag. I mean, the game against BDS earlier, it was 3-3 halves all the way through. Neither team able to get a solid lead, well, by the end of things, on their attacks and their defenses.
I really like that. I mean, he saw that the doorway was barricaded from the kitchen hallway, so he knew he could just jump in straight away. And I mean, look at that, 30 seconds into the round. Already 2 of the hatches are open. SCARZ making phenomenal timing. They might not know that the map is clear, but if they had good pre-placed drones, thanks to the Solus being banned on out by Furia, they could actually already have full map control.
And also, as we know, no impacts on the Azami, barbed wire this time, no Cade on the board, Bandit the only source of hard breach denial, really concerned about that church wall, and Tubarão obviously banned. So getting those hatches, very easy as well. Not only were there some barricades in the way to make them feel confident going for those hatches, but as we know, the utility's simply not there for Furia to deal with it. They're instead focused on everything that comes after that. The Azami can hold down AKs. The Bandit can make opening up the church wall a lot more difficult, depending on what Tayu is able to do with those EMPs. To counter my own argument, though, because there's no Cade, because there's nothing to really deal with those hatches, Tayu has all of his EMPs, and Herds only has one in pocket. Sure, maybe they can run up to the wall with that final hard breach charge or the other two in Nina's hands, but as long as they cover Moto, this wall could be opened up pretty easily.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Well, good timing for SCARZ, but they have to, of course, convert the mid-round. This hatch has actually still not been open here in Moto. There is only... Oh, there's 3 hard breach charges left. So, yeah, as you said, they could even work this church wall. It'd be a bit dangerous to try and do so, but perhaps the vertical game from Washui could enable that. I would like to see the Moto hatch opened up, though. And with no Kaid on the board, I'm a little bit confused as to why we haven't yet seen SCARZ do so.
It is a little bit strange, and as we're reaching the final minute, I think the big problem we have is SCARZ don't have the advantage they had in round 1. They're able to get JV92 early, then, you know, blitz rush the mirror window inside of blue, but they're playing this a lot slower. But with no operators to crack or destroy those mirror windows, all the positions on site still held, they're going to have to run into all the guns alive on Furia's defense with all the utility facing them. It's going to be a difficult execute for SCARZ, nothing like round 1.
Very much so. No Monty as well. They have to leverage these guns.
All the B's gone now, too.
These have. Tayo's just waiting here at the bottom of the stairs. He might actually find Herds, should Herds over-aggress. As you said, this player loves to sneak into cheeky positions. But is SCARZ ready for it? Look at Washui sending it on in. He does eventually go down. This position at AK is insurmountable. Everybody seems to fall to KZ. A bloodbath as SCARZ head straight into the meat grinder. They find nothing, not a single kill. 1 versus 5 for fish-like, but this is a very fishy situation indeed. KZ throws his body at him, but that's going to be the round done and dusted for Furia, tying the scoreline back 2 on the trot.
And that's sort of why, when it came to SCARZ's attacking side, that's why when we did have the brief discussion about what might the scoreline be before I've seen any of the rounds, those were the kinds of round I was worried about, that we'd see big individual performances, get them a couple, but there'd be consistent issues in clearing things out. Maybe they'll bounce back. I'm not saying that this will happen for the rest of the half, but they get the hatches quickly. Great. Not complaining about that. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Not a lot of mid-round there, is there? Like they didn't
exactly.
really use that mid-round.
That's the big issue, is the mid-rounding was borderline non-existent from SCARZ. No utility clear on the mirrors down below. The Azami's left completely safe. The Bs get used, 45 seconds left, and nothing is gained for it. No kill, no damage, no control. The transfer down to the bottom floor was really not there, and I think the final thing, too, you want to go for a plant through Ash Wall, and you don't have a shield like a Monty or an Osa to protect yourself.
Dirt control either. Like,
yeah.
You need dirt.
There were gaps for utility.
They just got straight up minced by the player AKs, right? You need to have some kind of way of addressing that. Maybe a Ying would have been nice, but SCARZ themselves banned that one out. Oh well, still a solid chat. Like 2 more rounds to play at the half, Carter. Like this isn't
done. It's a tie game.
Yeah, it is well and truly. And I think even if SCARZ only find one of these next 2 rounds, I think they should be happy with the half, especially considering the skill disparity, the perceived skill disparity between these teams. But should Furia find the rest of the rounds in this half, that means it's 4 in a row, momentum on their side moving into their attack. I think that would spell doom for the Japanese.
I agree as well. 4-2 half, and Furia being just consistently a little better on the attacking side than SCARZ is, given their experience and pedigree. But then again, it's a little bit easier to take fights if you're Nina and Rek on the defense. You feel a little more confident. The attack's inherently the harder side.
Well, historically, Furia are actually better on their attacker clubhouse than their defense. Obviously, they've only won this map, so stats are a bit inflated, but 62% win rate on attack, 55 on defense. They are really good at attacking this map.
It's one of their mainstays for a reason.
Very much.
It's one of the... Well, one of many, I suppose, reasons why Clubhouse is thought of to be one of the Furia maps that you better be prepared if you take this team to. Interesting thing to note, by the way, is... Actually,
Mav.
I was about to say, yeah, we don't have the Thermite anymore. We've got the Maverick as the main source of hard breaching. We've got 4 hard breach charges from Rek and Nina, but opening this wall is going to take a little bit longer of a time. And given how quickly, sure, they took 2 minutes, but given how quickly the round collapsed for Furia after SCARZ took garage control, the fact that they've taken the longer route to breaching, which will delay the time they actually start clearing out garage, it's a bit of a puzzling shift.
Nade almost loses his life to Washoy on this rappel as the wall is open, and I do believe it is now completely open. We should be able to see SCARZ take advantage of those angles. Yeah, this is actually a mirror window inside a lounge. That's a bit unusual.
This was about to say, I was going to say it, then I wanted to talk about the breach instead. We have all 4 garage panels soft in a mirror window down below inside of lounge to stop the very garage clear. Rec can get in safely. That's all well and good, but as people take fights, well...
Oh, Nina's gone down.
JV92 also goes down.
I meant JV, sorry. Nina does take him down with the fire. That's quite well played there from SCARZ, but of course elsewhere they did lose Fish-like on the Grim, and realistically they need some player to deal with KZ down here. Like, you can't plant when you have this player down in lounge, and Nina is going to be the one to try and do that. However, KZ is supported by another roamer, I believe, in bar as well, which is Philippox here. So this is very awkward for SCARZ. They have to deal with both of these players. Does mean Sight's quite weak.
That is true, but I mean, what the hell are you going to do here? You can't support the Monty in garage. You got to use the flashbangs or the concussions maybe to deal with KZ below, and he's got a C4 too. SCARZ were setting up for a default plant inside of CCTV, and this has completely stumped them, and unless they can hollow out the site in the next 25 seconds, they're not winning this one.
It could flip on a dime, though. All they need is to find a few picks and to go deep. And indeed, they do that. Nade's gone down. Hertz has gone down. The site is completely free now. The SCARZ.
He retakes.
Shut out. Put down. Philippox against 4. He finds the first one. But as Rex starts to force his diffuser down, SCARZ, they've once again taken the lead. They're keeping pace with Furia. In fact, they are better.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Okay, so we see the mirror window in lounge. 45 seconds left. SCARZ are like, I don't know what to do about this one. Like, this one, we haven't
just sent it deep.
But exactly, and honestly, that's the call they needed to make. Because, sure, ideally you'd find a way to clear that out and do it in good time. But if you can't, there's no point going on a side quest with 45 seconds left. You gotta send it. You gotta go for the kills. And whether Furia were ready for it or not, it doesn't matter. SCARZ were hitting their shots, which, to their credit, SCARZ have been doing consistently round after round after round, even in some of these losses. SCARZ have been hitting the shots, and when they're given a 1v1, winning them more often than not. I mean, there's not a single player negative on their roster right now. Sure, only 2 positive, but they're still not at a net loss for the gunfights they're taking in this game so far, despite how close it is. It's a good call from SCARZ to send it. They win the fights. I think KZ as well throws up the C4 in the chaos and doesn't get any kill for it. So SCARZ now with the lead. They've got 3 rounds. This is officially scary territory for Furia in my mind.
Can I
just
just
harder side?
Can I just point out that Furia earlier today played BDS on this map. BDS only got 2 rounds of attack against Furia. SCARZ have now got 3. I mean, everyone's saying, oh, Furia, FaZe, BDS, best teams in the world. Look at SCARZ for a second. I'm not saying they're the best team in the world or anything, but these guys are beating Furia on the unfavored side on one of Furia's favorite maps. This is quite a statement, and if they can keep it up here, moving on to Jim, I don't know what's in store for the second half.
Truly don't. The attack, again, it might be Furia's better side, but SCARZ will probably just be more comfortable on the defense is the bigger concern for me. Furia, they could be good. They could be one of the best attacking clubhouse teams in the world, but in a best of 1 where SCARZ are hitting their shots, if Rek and Nina just get a bit more aggressive than you anticipate on the defensive side, that could be wraps.
Can I just point out as well, you said that highlighted the KDs on the SCARZ side. Let's have a look at Furia for a second. Nade with not a single kill at the moment. JV struggling, Herd struggling. Like, these are the 2 big fraggers. It's funnily enough Philippox is the only one positive on the squad. Furia are being picked apart.
They are. They're just not having the same success. They look cold, as you mentioned earlier, which was a big issue we saw in the FaZe game. The gun skill just not, we know it's there, but it wasn't there in that game. Here, hasn't been there consistently. But KZ at least makes it even. 5-5, cuts down Rek in the middle of the plant wall breach. Unfortunately, caught with his pants down all the way on the balcony. And this clear, not going well at all. KZ is the king of 1v1s. Might get another, depending on what this Repel player decides to do.
I really like that from KZ, though. He's decided to get quite aggressive now. He's just having his confidence. He's got such good aim. He almost finds a 3rd there outside of stock. Washoy does a bit of damage, but not enough. The Fish-like starting to march on forward. Nina really needs to find a fall-off kill here as the defense retreat towards the site, but I don't think he's going to get that. Furia do manage to slink back towards that bomb site just in the nick of time.
This is where things get really problematic for SCARZ, because you remember how close that execute was previously? Well, Washoy's down, and Nina actually does walk in, find a kill, and hop back out. Oh, I was about to say, I think Washoy fell off the roof. That's unfortunate, but at least you can recover him. And it's a 3v4. We saw what they were able to do when they sent it into the site, that they were able to win the 1v1s given to them. If they're maybe able to run up main stairs, have Fishlight gather intel with the Monty, and then Nina and Washoy with the flashbangs both of them have, are able to isolate 1v1s, it's not going to be easy, don't get me wrong. But there's a winnable round in here, depending on what they can find.
Double drop, perhaps. Is that what's in store? Nade, he's yet to find a kill, but he's in prime position for Leapbox. A pre-placed C4 nets him a kill on the Fish. Nade's also fallen back on the other side of this mirror window, and Furia are playing this to perfection. They can just be patient. Washo is very low HP. Nina needs to land some seriously gnarly shots as Washo has gone down, and Nade finally gets his first kill. The half is over, and it's a tie between Furia and SCARZ, 3 rounds apiece, as the Brazilians look for redemption on their attack.
But I'm almost not even concerned with round 6. Like, Furia got your win, we tied the half, that's great, that's all well and good. But round 7, and maybe round 8 as well, is where I'm really concerned. Really, round 7 is the big one, because what are SCARZ going to do, and how effective will it be? Because we see the Solus gone. Rek and Nina love that operator. It's one of the main roamers inside of Rainbow Six. They play the Solus, they run around with the Specchio scanner, the SMG-11, it's a great gun. Solus is good for more than that, but she's still one of the key roaming operators. With Rek and Nina without that comfort, what are they going to do? Well, right here, probably not going to do a lot of roaming on Warden and Cade, all things considered.
Yeah, realistically, you don't need to roam with this lineup. You've got such a heavy fortification with the Azami, the Fenrir, the Wamai can protect those Kiva barriers from the Azami, and really what I want to see from SCARZ on this defense is very similar to what we saw on Furia's second defense of this side. Like, just put things on lock. You don't need to overcomplicate stuff. Just force the attack to really work on the mid-round and form up and execute, because in the late round, it's very hard to execute here onto this bomb site with a slew of operators like we have from SCARZ.
Attackers are moving out.
The Kiva barricades and the F-Not mines being the big ones.
Even the Warden, right? Like, you've got a couple of flashes here on the attack, and that Warden is so powerful at withstanding that and fortifying these heavy positions.
Something to consider, too. I mean, sure, you have the Maverick on the board. JV92 can cut through those electric claws, but as we mentioned, let's say you electrify the kitchen hatch, you're a bit susceptible to being shot once you open up that hatch, or a C4 potentially, but usually, we actually talked about this in the green room, you genuinely want to impact trick that hatch, and Fishlike and Washoy have 4 total between them. So, you're probably going to electrify the Moto hatch and the blue hatch. JV92 will focus on that, but working around that impact trick with only exothermics, obviously Furia prepared for this, they banned the Hibana, but it's something they will need to be concerned about, and they might have prepared for it, but they stumble a little bit. On that hard breaching, there's quite a bit of potential SCARZ could take some utility away.
Nina does have an electrical in pocket for the late game, whether it's deploying onto another hatch, potentially trying to trick this Moto hatch.
He's juggling it right now.
He's actually juggling it off because he wants to use both elsewhere, which I think is a good move. Like, obviously, we've got the Maverick in tow. The main impact of this electrical would be over on the kitchen hatch, potentially, or ideally, just on that church wall. Ooh, what was that?
Knowing Herds was down a staircase. Yep, he is up blue.
He's actually looking for more as well. This is very dangerous, but apparently, call the ambulance, not for him, but for SCARZ. He is traded eventually, but the damage is dealt. 2 big picks there for Herds, the impact that we expect out of a player of his caliber. And it does put SCARZ well and truly onto the back foot.
That impact found exactly that we expect from Herds, too. On this site in particular, he loves lurking down staircases, whether it's blue or main stairs, trying to find a gap. He finds one, gets 2 picks, dies, is worth his weight in gold. Furia is not going to complain about what he has found in this round, and they've still got a minute left to work with. Sure, they can't really open up the church wall because of that electricity right now. I think that's good allocation from Nina. Got the impact EMPs, but he's got one more, but he doesn't throw it. So unfortunately, Furia will be able to open this up. Now an execute is very likely.
Yeah, indeed. It looks like Furia might not even need to shape up and execute as SCARZ drop like flies. Tayo needs to land this long angle, but Furia have the site well and truly open, and they can simply hold down the line. Up to Rek now to form up some form of plan denial. He will find KZ, but not likely anything else. Beautiful work there from Nade. And Furia are firing up here. They've taken the lead for the first time in this game.
Well, I mentioned this round would be important, and Furia basically, fortunately for SCARZ, doing exactly what we need to see for a successful attacking half from Furia, which is 2 things. 1, Herds on his A game. Sure, he might not have been positive going into this round, but what does he do? First round of the attack, walks down, finds a gap in blue, gets 2 kills, dies. That's exactly what Herds is doing when he's having impact, when Furia are winning games. That is how Herds is playing, and he does that in the first round of the attack. And then they follow up. They use the ground he's gained to, sure, they didn't end up executing or going for a diffuser plant, but they immediately move down the stairs. They see the walls electrified. First impact EMP. Don't even fumble it. Hit it immediately, open up the wall. Really nice stuff. SCARZ taking an early tactical timeout. They have dropped 1 round on this half. They are down 4-3. They're taking a tactical timeout immediately.
I think it's a good call, though. And Blue will look to talk to the team and figure out how they can rope it back in. I mean, just look at the contrast of energy. Like, I love Igor's energy. He's such a good coach for this Furia roster. He's always got a smile on his dial, but he can be serious when he needs to be. Right now, it's just about vibes for Furia, but quite the contrast for SCARZ. I think they need to hone in and figure out how they can fortify these defenses and prevent Furia from slipping behind enemy lines, prevent Herds from having an impact play like we saw last round that really opened up the bomb site in favor of Furia. SCARZ. So you can hear there must be something good happening on the A stream.
It's actually funny. On the A stream right now, Adrian got an impactless frag in a 1v5, and they're like, let's go!
What is the A stream game right now?
I think it's Dark Zero Secret.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, I remember because I thought we were casting Dark Zero
We were
Secret.
casting that game.
I was like, Dev, I'm casting an NA team, you're casting an OS team, it's great. And you were like, we are working the B stream. And I'm like, well,
we're casting an NA team later, though, don't you worry about it.
I get to cast the world champion. I'm not going to complain about that.
Certainly.
And I get to cast Nina. 7 and 4.
He's a gamer, by the way. He is an absolute gamer. But of course, SCARZ needed to spring into action a little bit. They've decided to change bomb sites. They've gone over to gym and bedroom, which I think maybe it's a good move. Sometimes it's better just to keep things moving. And of course, Furia showed that this bomb site is very, very solid. It's the only bomb site they managed to win both times that they played it in their defensive half.
I also want to see from SCARZ them be a little more proactive in these defenses. They just turtle on the site completely in the first round on Church Arsenal.
Which is fine until you get 2 players picked off by Herds.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, Fury are the world champions for a reason. They can set up and execute if you don't provide them with any substantial obstacles. Herds, trying to find ground early on. I like this early clear. Of course, if they give it up, there's possible that SCARZ could retake it later on and try and go for a flank around the map. But Herds at least found it early. They can now start looking for utility with this scanner as well, try and find any of these electronics. Minute in, and Fury are still, despite Herds being down below early on, looking to deal with Washoy and Nina playing inside of CCTV and Cash.
Yeah, speaking of Nina, he just swung out and almost found KZ there for Leapox. Ooh, Herds is sneaking up the main stairs.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, this is very classic Herds, but he does lose his head to Wreck, and that might be spelling death for Furia. Now, fortunately, we'd already seen one big pick from Leapox on the Tayo, just on the logistic boost angle. But still, this position has not been cleared. Cash CCTV well and truly in the hands of SCARZ.
And Furia are honestly in a bit of a dangerous position because there's nowhere these defenders can go, but SCARZ clearly recognize that, but as Nina tries to take the fight, he's cut down by JV92. Fishlike follows up with 1, but Washoy, same position. He's got to play his life here, but the players on site are dropping like flies. Both defenders feeling the need to rotate back as the site's entirely hollowed out.
It's a good move, though, from Washoy. He doesn't continue to contest. In fact, Furia might not be aware that Wreck is dead on the ground as of yet. Leapox likely to drone out. He spotted the player. Now he must make the call to his team to try and capitalize upon this. No chance, realistically, that Wreck can be revived. JV is once again going to drone him on out. And that does mean that we are in a 2 versus 3 for SCARZ. Washoy getting back to site. His position not yet revealed.
Unfortunately, with Fishlike not having a C4, there's no options to deny the plant vertically for SCARZ. They've got to win these gunfights. They've got to hold out, and somebody's got to overperform to retake this man advantage.
Patience now. All that's needed from SCARZ, wait for the opportunity, and then make your move. 25 seconds to play. Furia, where is this going to come? Nade the one with the fuser, but JV can't make up his mind. Is he going to go through Con? Bit of information now revealed. Oh, Washoy does have eyes on JV, but Fishlike deep in his sight finds Leapox. Washoy round in the corner, he gets his. 1v2 for Nade. SCARZ tying the scoreline once again against the reigning champions of the world. The Japanese are not here to mess about.
That's a thumbs down 3v2 for me. I'm sorry. That's a thumbs down. Furia You give them all separate 1v1s? I don't think wrapping around a Logi is necessarily a bad idea. You're kind of stuck, unfortunately. There's 2 players outside of windows, 1 guy in con. You got to take the initiative, get some kind of control. But we see the guy wrap around Logi and take a fight with a guy. They know somebody is hovering around the bathroom area because they throw a drone in, it gets shot from the right side. They know he's either in bathroom or around the hallway somewhere. But then when they hop in, they're caught off guard by the player main stairs. They then give another 1v1 to the guy in the general position they were already aware of. And I also believe Fellapox had 2 flashbangs left. Maybe he used them, maybe he didn't, but there wasn't any impact found from them. That much is certain. And so SCARZ are able to win that 2v3, not from any individual overperformance, but from both players getting 1v1s and winning them, and then finishing off the round once it became a 2v1. SCARZ fight back beautifully after the tactical timeout with, I will say, not a perfect defense, but still a necessary win to regain that momentum and tie the game.
Pretty damn good defense, if you ask me, for SCARZ. When it came down to the narrow margins, when it came down to someone having to make a big play, they did that in the 2vx. And it's a huge up for the Japanese. I mean, this has been a really solid game from Furia. They've made mistakes every now and then. Nade's gone down. Thatcher spawn peeked by Washoy. This is the energy we needed from the Japanese. Furia on the back seat. The SCARZ look to take the lead once again here.
So, 5v4 early for SCARZ. Thatcher taken down. 4 drones destroyed going into the action phase. 5 now. And so much hard breaching for Furia, it's very evident what their win condition was. Well, I would assume opening up the flat wall breach and using the Selmas maybe to open up the garage panels. But now as Herds is rotating over to construction, it seems they might try to go for a con-sided push. But the big concern here, I've talked about this relentlessly in the NAL, I'm a bit of a con-take hater, I will not lie. Because you open up the con wall, and by the way, there's no EMPs remaining, so you have to go below. You open up the con wall, and you're just funneling in through 1 breach and 1 doorway, especially if you don't clear garage. The big upside is the cache positions are very default. Somebody's going to be green box, somebody's going to be red, somebody's going to be in garage. You can kind of pre-aim a lot of these positions and maybe get the picks, but in a 4v5...
It's not a 4v5 anymore, Carter, thankfully.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and Nina's also... Nina's a big one to take down. Oh, Felipox, though, getting peeked once again. I think that's Washoy continuing to be a bit of a devil on this roam. He drops downstairs. He will be scanned on out. Felipox can see that he has been retreated downstairs. I think KZ's managed to cut him off just briefly, but now Washoy knows about that position of KZ, and he finds him as well! Washoy continuing his reign of terror. 9 kills, and Felipox, diffuser in pockets, is looking to hunt him down. Washoy's already found 2. 1 spawn peek, 1 big peek. He's going and hiding in dirt tunnel at the moment.
This is honestly smart.
This is so smart. What a time sink this is. Furia cannot spend time hunting him down, and yet they're going to continue to do so.
We've got 3 people on this dirt tunnel problem now, overall through the course of the round.
Including the diffuser, by the way.
Yeah, and exactly. It's with diffuser. So as JV92 finds a kill on the site, you know there's only 2 people here, but Fellapox and Herds have been so focused on the player down below,
man, he's so
they're not in a good position.
He didn't have a C4 though, unfortunately. Tayo does, however. JV goes down. Desperation now from Furia. A player down as Herds just sends it up onto site. However, Tayo is right near the breach and Herds has clearly got no clue about it. Washoy's still downstairs. Felipox is deep in the site as well. This is a solid crossfire held, but Washoy goes down big from Felipox. Tayo in a 1v2, but he has been found. No right did Furia have to win that round.
No, not at all.
But they get it done anyway.
No, no right to win that round whatsoever. I mean, spawn peeked by Washoy, stumped by him, even with the Jackal ping. Well, I mean, fortunately, KZ loses the fight. Washoy just better in that individual engagement, unfortunately. But then wastes even more time by sitting inside a dirt. Furia are so tunnel visioned on it. And once JV92 dies, all they have is that 1 win condition that ended up going their way, is flooding into sight and winning 1v1s given to them. Ironically, exactly how SCARZ pulled back that 2v3 2 rounds ago on Gym Bedroom.
Oh, man, but yeah, I'm still stunned that Furia won that. There was no world where they were going to win that fight, but credit to him. Felipox just sent it in, and he got it done. Really good reads to find those final SCARZ players. Not sure whether it was a lack of restraint from SCARZ at the end there. Like, they didn't have to make a move, but they did end up gifting 1v1s that fell against them. Furia, very lucky to be in the lead right here, and I think they know it better than anyone. This has been a very tough game for both teams. They've really been pushed to their limits, but Furia have finally got back on top of it, and they're just 2 rounds away from closing it out.
And unfortunately, what has been a very close game up until this point, if Furia prove to be the better team, even by a millimeter, it's rounds like that that'll end up making the difference. Rounds that SCARZ literally should have won. They absolutely should have converted that round and taken the lead 5-4, but they didn't. Now Furia have the lead, and if this becomes a 7-5 game, or maybe needs to go to OT, that could have been the difference between SCARZ either pushing it to OT, closing it out in regulation, depending on what these remaining rounds have. SCARZ need every round here and must be treated as valuably as it is. In this particular case, one engagement, Herds is salivating at the idea of this pick on the Fenrir, playing either inside a bathroom or around the corner. No, just around the corner. I doubt Fishlike knows.
I don't think either of them know. Herds has an inkling. He must have heard something. Drones coming to support. Big kill. Fishlike goes down. The numbers already established by Furia. SCARZ on this basement bomb site. Caught in an awkward position. Nina not able to impact Trick.
I think that's Dark Zero winning, based on how long that trash talk went. All right, Herds is walking up long ball. This is just normal.
Keep it in mind. We will talk maybe about the B stream or the A stream game in just a moment, but this is still quite a tantalizing prospect we have over here as well. Furia so close. Look at Herds.
This is so smart.
This guy just shift W's on forward. He's right in the middle of sight, and he's found another pick. Nina's gone down. The rug has been ripped out from underneath SCARZ, and with that, the bomb site is fully Herds's. He's found another pick, Tayo down, and Herds is back into form, no doubt about it. Reckoner 1v5, he finds the first pick, but this is match point, open and shut case for Furia. It's been a close game, but that was not really a close round of 4K for the man himself. Herds has a huge moment, and Furia now with 2 match points.
I mean, that's what, 2 rounds now that Herds has basically opened up.
Yeah.
Both Church Arsenal rounds he's opened up entirely by finding a gap. In the previous one, it was a 4v5, I believe, and then he walks down the stairs, it finds 2. No, it was 5v5, walks down, gets 2 picks, then Furia lose 1. But still, 4v3 established, man advantage established, Furia close out the round. In this case, on the roam clear, knows the Fenrir somewhere around the strip in the bathroom side, gets the cutoff, gets the pick, and what do you know? There's 3 roamers around the middle floor, and Herds realizes there is not a soul downstairs on Church Arsenal. So he walks in, gets the kill, and he didn't even need to get a 4K there. It was honestly kind of out of pocket that he did. He could have just got that pick and won the round for Furia anyway.
Oh, he likes the style points, man.
He
Have
does.
you seen this guy?
And he does not even the top frag. It's Fellapox at 11 kills right now, but every kill, like, the vast majority of Herds' kills directly contributed to at least 2 round victories. And if you count him alongside Fellapox in that CCTV cash round, 3 rounds almost entirely won by his efforts and a little bit of Fellapox too.
Yeah, both have been hugely impactful players. Nina, who we really highlighted for SCARZ, has had a few quiet rounds now. A lot of early deaths, a lot of disappointing performances, despite starting so strong. And that really can be said of SCARZ. Like, they had so many opportunities here.
So many advantages early on.
I think losing that unlosable round where Washoe had such a good roam, that has really affected them. Of course, it was 4-4 at that point, and now they've lost the next 2 rounds. They need to bring this back and push overtime, because it's crazy to think SCARZ won more attacks against Furia than BDS did, and yet on SCARZ's defense, they cannot find any luck.
No, the confidence seemingly isn't really there. Even when they're roaming, they're playing very passive. I was hoping to see them use the defensive side, forcing the attack to come to you to their advantage, and really they haven't. They've been letting Furia, get their run of the map, get the control they want. Herds especially find the kills he wants. I was hoping for a bit more, not only energy from SCARZ as a whole, but specifically from Rek and Nina, their star players. And Washoe's been doing great, don't get me wrong. And he was doing great in the game earlier against CAG, but Rek and Nina, there's just not been much. Right now, Herds, well, I will say domed by Rek behind that mirror window, so good start to shut down such a powerful player.
Opening pick means a lot for SCARZ, especially when it's Herds, as you said. KZ tempted to try and make something work. I like this rappel position from JV. Now, they've got a good drone in the site as well. They can start putting some pressure on. I believe it was, it's actually Washoe here, and he is taken on down. Well played from Furia. Every single player on this team dedicated to try and flushing him out. Philippox, oh no, he loses the fight. And the top fragger in the server goes down. However, KZ and Nate spring into action, going deep into sight now. The Thermite, diffuser in pocket. looks for an opportunity. KZ, the player to cover, and he does that to perfection. Tayo down. Another one for Herds. Certainly all up to Fish.
Attackers activated.
I don't think he is in the water any longer. JV puts the nail in the coffin for SCARZ after a very tense first half. Moving on to the attack, no chance at all. Furia show their mettle and show what they are capable of as the reigning world champions. 2-0 so far at the major.
And ultimately, I'm left a little disappointed. Not with Furia, to be certain, but that was a close half. It was such a close first half. And to see SCARZ not build on that promise, it's very disappointing. Given the upset we saw earlier, Secret over FaZe 7-3, I thought we'd have a close game. I really did. And SCARZ, a lack of energy in their defenses, but also credit to Furia, some solid reads in their attack, but especially Herds back in form. Furia have had problems with their individual performances, especially from KZ in the regional leagues. And while Herds has been a bit iffy too, he still had those consistent performances, finding those gaps, getting those big picks, and this game against SCARZ, he was there exactly when Furia needed him on that attack.
Very much so. We saw what Furia are capable of even when they are playing from behind for most of this game. I mean, it was SCARZ leading for most of this matchup, and yet Furia, they took an early tactical timeout. They really talked it on out, and I think that converted them into some serious success. Herds took a few rounds for him to find his footing, but he absolutely killed it.
And then, of course, you know, Fellapox also doing really well. I will say one of the worrying trends we'll see from Furia is they've got 3-star players, right? 3 of the best players in the world. Herds, KZ, JV92.
And yet Fellapox was the best player in that
Exactly,
game.
that's where I was going. And Fellapox, don't get me wrong, great player, outstanding IGL, back when he was on MIBR, such a pleasure to watch. And he doesn't need to pop off when you have KZ, Herds, and JV92 doing great things. When those 3 are doing well, that's usually when Furia are winning 7-0 or 7-1. It's really strong. But here, KZ had some great moments, to be sure. But JV92, a little lackluster, but what do you know? Fellapox at the top, really good stuff.
KD, man, that's insane.
Exactly, but then KZ and Herds, especially KZ in that final round, when they were getting multi-frags, they were winning rounds entirely.
Yeah. It was really just on Herds opening up rounds. He only got 9 kills, but every time he did find a multi-kill, it was huge. Fellapox also consistent. Furia back on the horse. They've taken down BDS, one of the favorites for the tournament, and now they've come back from what was an uncharacteristically close game at the first half against SCARZ, and I think that will fill them with a lot of confidence moving into their 2-0 matchup. Of course, the way that Swiss works, every game you play, it in theory gets harder, right?
Yes.
Every game you win, you're playing against other teams that have won the same number of games as you, which means that the next game for Furia is going to be a real tough one. And of course, that will indeed qualify them should they win it for Phase 3.
And it should be a tough one, but it's not going to be FaZe or BDS.
That's true.
And I think they're happy about that they don't have to play one of those tournament favorites to get into that qualification game. Of course, you know, did have teams like Secret looking in really good form earlier that are playing on the A stream right now. But to flip it as well, I mean, SCARZ, they go down 1-1. They lose 7-4 to the world champs. I think, really, knowing you did so well on that attacking side, and I think also looking at that defense and realizing that lack of energy, you know, not really providing problems for Furia to encounter all that much, it's a pretty easy read. I think there's a lot SCARZ can learn, and just, you know, even to be even more positive, the fact that Washoe was having a really good day overall today, and it wasn't all on Nina and Rek to get SCARZ this scoreline. Sure, it might be regulation loss, but still decent showing nonetheless. There's a very well-rounded roster here, and if SCARZ can figure out some of those strategic things, this could still be a team contending for a deep Swiss run.
It's true, they might still be internationally winless for the last year, but SCARZ have shown just how much potential they have here. Furia, though, of course, winners of that game, they go up 2-0 in the Swiss bracket. We'll go to a break, and after, of course, we've got more games in the Manchester Major ready for you guys.